good afternoon, and welcome again to the Seat at the Table. Today's actually May 14th, and it's my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. And we're recording this a week early for next week's broadcast. And today I have a very, very special guest to meet. Her name is Rachelle, and she is a previous intravenous drug user and a mom, and is quite, you will love her story of where she was and where she became. So I'm going to let her tell you, but I'm going to tell you we met her at Safe Space. The very first year Safe Space opened up, and she utilized that every day to remain safe and have a meal and be okay. And since that time, Rachelle and I have worked together off and on, depending on what point she was in her recovery. And right now, she will be one of the very first people, I'm very proud even to say this, in mental health court in Butte County. So she's has her lawyer, Eric Ortner, and Ron Reed are heading up mental health. And Saul and Denver and all the rest of them are heading up mental health court. And I'm not sure what judge it is, but I think it's Judge Keeley. Is that it, Rachelle? I think she's going to be the judge for mental health court. And so that's a very progressive step for Butte County and one that's much needed. So I'm going to introduce Rachelle, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself first, and then where her and I met, and then we're going to have a conversation.
Hi, I'm Rachelle. I just want to say it's an honor to be here, Lisa.
Oh.
I appreciate this opportunity. And let's see, I became homeless back in 2012 after a 9-year marriage falling apart. And I ended up losing custody of my daughter, and basically my ex got everything. And I became homeless and found myself deep into my addiction. And before I knew it, I was living under a bridge with a needle in my arm. And I finally got hooked up with Safe Space. That's where I met Lisa. And I loved that place. I finally found a place that I felt safe at night. And yes, I was still struggling with my addiction, but at least it gave me a safe space to be at nighttime. And that's where I met Lisa. And I remember when I was pregnant at the time, and I was, feeling depressed as it was, and struggling. And she would bring me a pair of socks every night, and the toe socks. And I don't know, it created a bond between the two of us, and I'm forever grateful. And so, but now, it's been a long road, and I have 84 days clean, and I'm in the process of trying to get my daughter back. I got on unsupervised visits now, and when I went to court last couple weeks ago, Judge Roberts was totally impressed with me, and told me to keep up the good work. And I'm currently in stepping stones, and I just phased up, and getting ready to graduate one of my other classes tomorrow. And I'm very active in behavioral health and the crisis and the Triage Connect and the Iverson Center, and they've all worked very hard to help me on this journey. And yeah.
So, you know what, I got to tell you, everybody, that I am so flippin' proud of Rachelle. So when I met Rachelle, she's so cute and, smiles and is very, very friendly. And in the midst of her addiction and depression, she actually stood up and said, I have these issues and this is what I need, along with her mental health. So what caused this was, like she was saying, a divorce and in a bad relationship after that, of abuse, running away from abuse, right?
Yeah.
And so that is one of the factors that factored into her getting into her addiction in order to escape those moments of abuse and being scared, and along with her mental illness. So with her mental illness, she's dealing with it with behavioral health, is on the right medications finally, and going through all the progress. She goes to 7 or 9 or 10 meetings a week, right?
Yes. At least one, maybe twice a day.
Just to maintain. And the beautiful thing about it is that Rachelle is within wraparound services. And what we talked about in the very first episode on this is that when you have mental illness or you have addiction, you cannot just go and be placed in a house. You have to have the wraparound services. You need the outreach of folks that you can rely on to fall back on. If we were just to shove her aside and say, okay, Rachelle, just go live, do you think that any of this would happen?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I want people out there to know that, you should not be ashamed of having a mental illness. It's a real thing, and everybody deserves help, and you need to just reach out and ask for help.
Right, and it takes a village, so it's not just one agency or one person who's helping Rachelle through this. I mean, every single day with Stepping Stones, she goes to the Iverson Center. Her and I talk almost daily. It's everybody combined of all the services that she's getting, and even the SLA that you're living in now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the other women, that she's working with, and through her groups and that, haven't you met some fabulous, a great sponsor?
I have a wonderful sponsor, Kim, and I actually have two sponsors. I have an AA sponsor and an NA sponsor, and Kim and Shannon, and they're amazing women, and I could not do it without those women. I call them every single day, and I'm either working on step work or highlighting with them or just talking on the phone, and they've helped me.
Yeah, so so people in the community understand this, that here's someone who actually it took quite a few years for her to be diagnosed properly, and then after the addiction, this isn't something that is you just automatically just go and do. And it isn't something where she smokes pot and then she's addicted. This is something that's very serious within to stop her own mind from making her paranoid or anything, right?
Yeah. I struggled with addiction for a long time, and I believe my mental illness just intensified that. And it was hard for me to be able to stay clean long enough to allow my meds, when I finally got diagnosed, to actually start working. And every time I'd start feeling like they weren't working or something, that's when I would end up relapsing. And it's been a long journey to be able to get the support that I needed to stay clean long enough for my meds to be actually working.
Right, and we had this conversation. I hope you don't mind if I bring this up, Rachelle, but we had this conversation the other night that you had posted something that said, I'm sober and I don't feel right.
Yeah, I've been experiencing it the last few weeks. I actually just started my Hep C treatment, and I've been having weird dreams and stuff, and just things are starting to I don't know, I'm seeing things in a different light, and sometimes it can be really scary, and especially when okay, I'm not on drugs, so it's not the drugs that are making me feel that way. I'm on my meds that I'm supposed to be on, and it's a constant I have to work on it every day.
Well, it's a struggle because, and the thing that I love about Rachelle so much is that she's very strong, and she has this ability to understand that she needs to communicate it. So that's the other thing, is that we don't allow our people enough to have the seat at the table. We don't allow them enough to, we say, oh God, they're talking again, we're so bugged. Right?
Yeah.
And we shove them away when it's really freaking important, people. It's really important. When I saw her post the other night, I reached out to her right away because she said, well, I might need to go to crisis. I might need to do this. And, it's the reassurance of her sponsors and other people that surround her, with me wrapped around her too as well, is that, no, it's okay. You know what? This is okay feeling, and you're validated. But instead of going to crisis, what did you do?
I called my sponsor, and I worked on some steps, and I journaled, and I believe I called you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just, it's not something you need to be ashamed of.
No, and it's the tools. We need to give people the proper tools that they're comfortable with. So this isn't something where I say, hey, you need to do this, or you can make the suggestions, just like Shannon and Kim, right?
Yeah.
Make the suggestion, hey, maybe this might help you. And on some days that might help you.
Yeah.
And on the next day it might mean that you have to get out of your comfort zone and go to a meeting, or you might need to go spend some time at the Iverson Center, with your people that you've connected with.
Yeah.
Or it might mean that you and I take a ride. I mean, we're planning this day at the beach because I think that everybody deserves a day off and to get away. And I've been talking about going to the beach for months now, and I really need people to go that's going to thoroughly enjoy it and embrace in having a sober, beautiful day off, right?
Yeah. I haven't been to the beach since I was a little girl.
Right? So the thing is that we need to encourage our people to reach out, but people, this is very important. You need to listen.
Yes.
Not dictate, not talk, listen. So whatever the need is for our individuals that are going through these things, we need to listen, take a step back, meet them where they are, and ensure that they're safe in whatever is happening.
Yeah, especially when they are finally, reaching out and asking for help, that they know that they're safe to open up and share anything, and they will not be judged.
Right. That's big, right?
That's a big thing. I don't think I would have reached out as much and to the people that I did if I had, if I knew that I wasn't being judged,
Right, and every day is an encouragement. So, we can twist around whatever we want. And when someone's deep in their addiction or deep in having their mental health crisis, it's time that we say, I'm proud of you. Look where you were and look what you have become. But don't stay back and looking too long in the back. We need to see what's the next exciting thing that's happening, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So what's the next thing that you get to do that will bring pleasure to your life? I mean, you were so excited yesterday. Who called you for Mother's Day?
My daughter.
Sunday.
My daughter. I had given her my phone number because she goes home to her dad on the weekends, and Friday went, Saturday went, came and went, and Sunday, and I woke up and I was feeling pretty good, but not, So I journaled and I went to a new meeting, and I got home from the night meeting, and I was laying on my bed, and I was feeling, God, what I'm doing all these right things, and I still, can't see or talk to her. And all of a sudden, my phone rings, and it's my daughter on the other line. She told me she just wanted to wish me Happy Mother's Day, and I just started crying, and it made my day. And no, that's why I'm doing this. I mean, I'm doing this for me, and I deserve a better life, but I'm also doing it to give my daughter a better life so that she doesn't have to grow up and struggle with the struggles that I did.
Exactly, and isn't that beautiful? So that's the beautiful thing with non-supervised visitations now, and the ability to communicate with her child, who is just lovely. And I love hearing the stories about when she does have visits, and the things that they do is really cool. And Rachelle, I really I can't tell you enough how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
And for coming on here, being brave, because a lot of people can't do that, right? And they can't manage it, and they're not. And you're secure in yourself. I keep trying to tell her all the time, you got this, you got this, you got this. And she goes, you have so much faith in me. I said, together we all, Kim and Shannon, myself, the SLE that you're living in now, and we all have that faith in you.
Thank you.
And we're happy that, again, this is another huge success story about folks that we've met at Safe Space. So I know there's a lot going on that people don't want it in their area or this and that. So can we talk a little bit about when you were at Safe Space? Did you wander the neighborhood? I mean, can we talk about, so the thing is that the people are saying all these drug addicts are going to wander the neighborhood, they're going to steal from us, they're going to break in. And all I saw usually for the 5 years that I volunteered at Safe Space and was the mental health advocate there, helped people through mental health crisis and that. When people called us even any time of the night. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience within Safe Space?
Well, when I was going to Safe Space, I really honestly didn't see a lot of crime. There was really no fighting. They kept it pretty under control, and people were pretty respectful, and followed rules, and only went in the certain areas that we were supposed to go. And I think that the community needs to realize that these are people too, and they deserve just you never know what happens in someone's life to end them to be homeless, and I think a Safe Space is a great support, and it changed my life. And if I hadn't gotten that chance, I don't believe I'd be sitting here. So I'm for it.
Isn't that's a beautiful testament, people, because the fact is that the people who run Safe Space and have volunteered there, let's be clear, there over the season there's 400 volunteers annually, and this is actually bringing the community together. And the hate that's speaking of it right now is just horrible, because the fact that how can you get 400 volunteers from age 8 to one of my church ladies that's in her 80s? Serving people and listening to their stories. If I hadn't met Rachelle at Safe Space, I might have met her on the street, but I don't think that we would have had that bond or that relationship for me to offer wraparound services to her and say, hey, Rachelle, do you need a ride to court? So Rachelle and we go to court. I meet her out there. I've written letters for her for her court case, and the beautiful thing is that that's what wraparound services are. That's the place where you're going to meet them. That's the place where you get to know them. Because if you go out to Safe Space and you have a meal with folks and you get to know their stories, or you're standing out smoking with them in the area that they're not pillaging your neighborhood. No, that's not happening.
I think it's a nice way of meeting someone right where they are too. Like you said, going out and smoking, and knowing that, letting them know that they're people too, and they're humans,
right?
And they deserve a chance. And I don't believe that there was a lot of crime going on.
Right. So you know what, Rachelle, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I can't tell you that your story should just bring huge hearts and souls soaring, for where you are and where I so look forward to getting to know you and watching your daughter grow up and watching you grow even more into the beautiful human that you are today.
Thank you, Lisa. And it's been an honor to come on here.
Oh, well, thank you. And this is Lisa Courier from A Seat at the Table. Our next episode is going to be with Helen Harbitz from Probation. And I'm very excited about that because she's going to give some deeper education into the system. So people believe that the police can just go arrest people or that they can just go 5150 someone. There's procedures and there's policies and there's laws. And so Helen will give you good insight on that. And I look forward to it. Again, this is Lisa Courier. It's May 14th. And this is A Seat at the Table. Thank you.